Roll call. Ryan Cambridge,
Here?
Michael Kaufman,
Here.
Chris Burksdale,
Here.
Kimber Lane is absent. Chad Dilley, absent. Matt Milburn,
Here.
we have a quorum. All right, approval of May 8th, 2024 minutes. Everyone have a chance to review?
Yes.
Any questions? Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Motion carries. All right, public presentation and comments. And so we have someone? Yeah. Please step up, give your name and address, please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hello, EJ Williams, 295 Beechwood Lane. So third time here in a row, becoming quite the regular. It's neat to see how you guys operate, actually. But yeah, so last time I was here, you guys conditionally approved the rail trail bridge that allows me to access the rail trail for my property. A reminder from my prior presentations that if I don't have this access, it adds 0.8 miles to get to the rail, to get to that point on the rail trail. So I really like it. I think you guys, what's nice is I think you guys are in agreement that and want to work with me to get there. So good news, you know, we got the permit from the planning department. So that's just a permit, not much detail there. But I wanted to show you that the permit has been approved. I think we're still working on legal aspect of this, but we'll talk about the design a little bit, but I did want to eventually ask if you will allow me to start construction on this. You guys are the landowner. The permit has been approved for construction, but obviously without your approval, I can't start. So I was hoping that after the erosion control is completed, which obviously I'll wait for per Jared's request, if I could start construction on that. And if not, you know, let's talk about that.
So do you have the engineers, the town of engineers approval?
So that, no, George, and I have emails from him, and I guess I'll just fill you in. It's one of those things where, you know, this is not his project, so I don't see him, you know, his response, where'd it go? His response is more along the lines of, you know, get fully stamped plans. And I think that's kind of what maybe we can talk about here. You know, should this be considered the overly Warman Bridge, right? Do we need fully stamped plans for this?
We would say yes, because it's a public bridge.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a public bridge, so it's needs stamped.
Gotcha.
Engineer drawings.
Drawings, yes. We mentioned that in meeting number 1.
Which this is the permit for a location improvement permit, but you would also need, I would presume, a structural evaluation because you will have footers and things like that as well.
That's all that he said was needed. But I guess depending on whatever future design.
Yeah, I mean, I think we would expect to see engineered drawings. That would be typical for anything we would install. Even, you know, Jared's team isn't out there putting timber structures up, you know, just based on their experience, that even though they probably could, for liability reasons, they're designed by an engineer, the structural loads are calculated, the engineer is responsible for making sure the design meets all the local code and the state building code for commercial design, which is what is going to apply here, not residential design. So as we talked about the last time, so the live loads are going to be different, you know, it's a different set of criteria. And then at the end of that, the design of that bridge, which you can work with the engineer to say, I want it to look like this, or to be as expensive as possible or as cheap as possible. You can do any of that as long as it meets those code requirements and he's willing to sign off on it. And so typically when we go to bid a project like that, you can't even start the bid process until you have a set of engineered drawings that are signed by a licensed engineer.
Yeah, I guess maybe that was a little confusion on license, stamped. I didn't realize that you guys wanted the full license and stamped. Because I did provide drawings, I provided a load analysis, and I am an engineer. But I didn't realize that you guys wanted a full stamp.
Yes, I mean, that's standard.
Okay.
Yeah. and it's for liability purposes.
Mhm.
So, and again, just standard procedure for any, I mean, that's correct, Jared, any park, especially when there's a span and load bearing involved, you know, that's just the way it works. So it will be, I would imagine, a fairly straightforward project for an engineer, not overly complicated. But that's what, we don't want to be in a position, because we're not, it's not our responsibility, and we're not technically qualified to say, yeah, that bridge looks like the way it should look and meets all the codes. That's your job to prove that, and the best way you can do that in a way that we or the town will believe you is to have an engineer who's bound by law draw it.
Yes, the only thing I'm lacking is the stamp, because I have done all that work, but I understand the need for the stamp.
Yeah.
Because I do have an opinion from a civil on a lot of research that was done.
Right, and you know,
Yeah.
as someone who also, as a landscape architect, we sign and seal drawings too, and it's a different, you know, like, when you put your stamp on something, you're assuming
Oh, yeah.
liability.
Which is why I was
by
trying to
design. So,
Avoid that, because
that's
it's
the
quite the
reason-
project.
right,
Yeah.
that's the reason that we would want that and request that of any project in the public right away.
Again, this is all due to public safety.
Yeah, okay. Well, I guess I'll be here for a fourth and maybe fifth meeting for you guys. I get honorary membership at some point, maybe, right?
Well, when you get those drawings, I would say if you get them done, they probably won't take the engineer very long. Get them done, have them submitted, or submit them to Jared so he can include them in the park board packet before, in advance of your meeting. So we receive the packets several days, sometimes more than a week in advance, and have a chance to review them. That way, if you come back to that meeting or know you're gonna come back, we'll have had a chance to kind of look over what you want us to look over in advance of the discussion, if that makes sense.
Okay, I will pursue a stamp.
Because that really probably needs to be put on the agenda versus trying to do via public presentation, so.
Yep.
Okay, the public presentation part's done now, you need to be part of the agenda. Does that sound good?
And Jared can get you on the agenda.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
Yep.
sounds good. All right, thanks.
Yep.
All right, any other people online? Or, okay. Next up is staff report, superintendent.
Thank you, John. Good evening, Park Board. Just highlight a couple of items from my superintendent report. We have continued design work on Carpenter Nature Preserve, the Mulberry Fields concession stand restroom, and the Lincoln Park refresh project. So all of those are actively in design. We're nowhere near construction design just yet on any of them, but Carpenter is definitely in the lead. We are looking to wrap up that design work towards the end of summer for you all to review, with a potential bid this fall, and we'll get that phase one project rolling. The others don't have quite as firm of a timeline just yet. An update on the Turkey Foot Bridge rehab. So this is a project to re-engineer the approaches to the bridge, so the middle span will remain the same. So that design work is continuing as well, and I should receive an updated design package along with cost estimate on June 17th. So towards the end of next week, I should have those documents for early review and critiquing, and so that is moving along as well. As that kind of tightens up in design, they'll work towards permit once the final layout is finalized. Past month, I had a chance to visit the Indianapolis Urban Acres site, where they foster both native plugs as well as vegetables for a local food bank. So Indianapolis has been utilizing a hoop house and planting these things throughout the winter to where they sell them in the spring. And it's actually run by the Indy Park Alliance, a nonprofit wing on site. So those funds are used to support that nonprofit and keep that good work going. So we had a chance to visit the site and just get some ideas and learn how a hoop house would operate. As you know, we do have one planned for Heritage Trail Park. In this past month, we did purchase the kit, so we'll be moving towards permitting and placing that structure up in the near future as well. Just to give a recap, we also held our first annual Trail Fest event. It was a week-long celebration of our trail system, and Mindy and her team put on a variety of programs that were well attended throughout the week. The conclusion of that week-long celebration was the town showdown against Whitestown, where we asked Zionsville to show up in numbers greater than Whitestown to compete for the Golden Bike Wheel. And while Zionsville had over 100 people there, due to population ratios, Whitestown actually took the first annual Golden Bike Wheel. So we will look to get that back next
We need to
year.
score this as a representation of per capita.
Yes. But that'll give us a little fire to get it back next year, and we look forward to continuing that partnership with Whitestown. Two more items. Within your packet, there was the Nature Connections recap. So as you may recall, this was a program that our own naturalist Rachel developed in 2022, bringing hands-on exploration and observations into the classroom. Her program began as a pilot with Eagle Elementary, where there were multiple classroom visits throughout the year that actually satisfied state criteria for third graders. And then at the end of the year, they had a field and service project out in Zion Park. This year, we extended that to Trailside Elementary, and next year, we are looking to expand that to another elementary as well, ultimately with the goal to have all third graders in Zionsville participating in this program. So the schools have been a fantastic partner in that, and Rachel will be here to present the conclusion of that program and how it's evolving, as well as a recap of Indiana Master Naturalists at our August meeting. And one final item to discuss, our own Mindy Murdoch has been with the town for 10 years as of last month. So we hope to have her for at least 10 more and continue to expand nature education and programming in our community. That's all from the superintendent report.
Congratulations, Mindy. All right, next, Director of Recreation Services, Mindy. Did your employees give you a nice little happy scent?
They
for 10
did.
days?
I got a card and I got some flowers and some cookies. So it was quite interesting when I came in. And they let me have the day off, so there we go.
There you go. That's the best part there.
I got a day off. Yeah, so May was a busy month, not so much as attendance in the Nature Center. We did see a little bit of a drop. I think that had to do with several different things. The opening with Whitestown branch, we've seen a little bit of a drop overall in the library. We also had to be closed quite a lot during early voting and voting itself because the Nature Center is right next to the voting location. So we decided to close up for those. And then just, we had a lot of school programming. So when we are out on site doing school programming, a lot of time we can't have the the room open because we aren't there. And so kind of giving that idea, we actually did 10 private school or scout programs for the month of May. Quite a number of those were with the Nature Connections, finishing up with Eagle, and then doing the service projects both at Zion Nature Sanctuary and then at Overly Warman Park. So at Zion Nature Sanctuary, the kids went out and they did invasive removal of garlic mustard. I don't remember the total number. They beat last year's, so there was a lot of celebrating on that behalf. And then they also did some native plant plugs, and they also planted some milkweed plugs that we had got from leftover from Green Fest. So they planted those in the sanctuary. And then we had 118 of them show up from Trailside Elementary for Overly Warman, and they did some creek exploration, water studies, and then did their own garlic mustard pole, which they filled a entire bed of a back of a pickup truck with
Wow.
garlic mustard. So they had a lot of fun with that one as well. So. So besides school programming, we had some other programs going on. We wrapped up our Indiana Master Naturalist for this year, so that's 2 years under our belt. We actually invited the last year's and this year's class out to Carpenter Nature Preserve, and we did our first ever little mini bio blitz utilizing the IMN class, as well as we brought in some different presenters and people of different knowledge from DNR and some other local ones. So we were out there for about 3 hours, and I'm sure Rachel will tell you more about that one during her talk. I don't want to take her thunder.
I don't know how I missed that one then.
I don't know how you missed that one either.
I didn't see that email.
Not
so.
getting those emails. So, but it was a lot of fun. So, and hopefully we'll be able to do those again in the future and see. We found some very interesting species while we were out there looking at stuff. We also wrapped up a lot of our monthly programs. We end in May, take a break for summer. So we wrapped up Peeps and Toddler Trek. So those will take a little bit of a hiatus so we can survive summer camps, and they'll pick up again in August. And then the big ones were just a lot of outreach. The Creek Stomper is up and running, so we did our 100 Hours Outside kickoff, of course the town showdown. We did a park and play at Christ Lutheran Preschool for kind of their end of the year celebration. And then we had Party in the Park, which a little over 1,000 people attended. That was a beautiful day for that one. The Creek Stomper will continue through summer. I was actually out at Royal Run today, so we will be out at the different HOAs, as well as some different events that we have planned. So you'll see her probably here, there, and a little bit of everywhere throughout the summer. And then just lastly, for our 100 Hours Outside, we now have over 200 people registered for that. They are submitting their hours. We have quite a number of them that have already reached 100 hours. So I'll be contacting them this week or early next week for them to pick up their prize. And then the goal is we actually invite them to continue to record their hours, because the person that gets the most hours by the end of summer gets the grand prize. And then we also have the Butterfly Trail. If you haven't gone and seen them, they kicked off last week. And so we have 8 wings. They're pretty much all in the same location. We had to move one a little bit in Sullivan Munts because of their bee exhibit that they have. But they're all new artists, and they're quite interesting. So,
Excellent.
and that's all.
I don't see, I think Zionsville West Middle School came and did a garlic pull. I
They
don't see that
did.
on
I
here.
did not record them because
Okay.
I know Sam recorded it for his volunteer hours. But
Ah,
yes,
okay.
yeah, we
I know
kind of,
they-
we had a very week heavy of pulling garlic mustard and how many bags can we pull out there. So yeah, but that was a fun one as well.
I know they like that partnership. and-
They love that
Yeah.
part. They're already telling me, they're like, when can we pick the next day? I'm like, why don't you wait till you get back into school? And we'll put something on the calendar. So, yeah, it's one of their favorite things they do.
Excellent.
Well, it's, I guess, worth noting that the third graders have cumulatively done more work on Overly Warman than the active contractor in the prior 30 days. So.
And they loved it, man. We told them, we had so many bags, we were telling them, like, grab a bag and head back up. And some of those little kids are trying to grab 2 or 3. We're like, pass them on to your friends. There's plenty to go around. So,
Good. It was
yeah,
fun to see-
they
fun to see them
enjoyed
back
it.
there.
So, and I'm sure that will also be, since this is the first year for Trailside, I'm sure next year's group will have some competition to try to beat. So, I don't know what they're going to do when they run out of garlic mustard. So,
We look forward to that day.
yes.
Exactly. Thank you very much, Mindy, appreciate it. All right, next is the park attorney, but Amy is out sick today, so we will bypass that. And on to new business, park rules update.
Thank you, John.
Jared?
Good evening, Park Board. Before you in the packet was a Resolution 2024-04 restating and revising the rules of parks operations. This should look pretty familiar because we just did this in January with an update on drones and other items. But I wanted to bring your attention to number 7, which I will read. No person shall, so this is an update I'm proposing to the board for your consideration. No person shall possess or consume any alcoholic beverage or controlled substances as defined by state criminal statutes on park property except for the lawful possession and consumption of alcoholic beverages sold and dispensed by the Zionsville Golf Course or sold and dispensed by an approved vendor under the town special event application process or as established by a designated outdoor refreshment area DORA ordinance. So the reason for this update, for the past 3 years, we had partnered with Maple Lawn Farmstead for our Barns and Brews program. So one of our priorities in recent years is to expand our programming to all ages. So while we are exceptionally good at programming to our younger audiences and our families, we do tend to lose teenagers just because they naturally are harder to grasp. And that just expands as adults have very busy schedules, either on their own accord or following their children around. So we wanted to offer a 21-plus program that could attract a new user group as well as just invite a new opportunity for gathering and social education. So We partnered with Maple On and had 3 successful seasons of Barns and Brews and really understood some of the controls and parameters you have to go around when programming with alcohol. Many of our peer park departments do this as well, and it's just another opportunity to attract different users to our parks. So we feel with our local experience as well as defining these rules, so the exception is only for town-approved special events as well as dictated by a DORA district, we feel confident that this rule could be applied to our parks, which would not allow you to just bring your own six-pack still. That would still be enforceable under our code. But it would allow for adult beverages at our special events. The reason this is being introduced now and restated is if approved, we will go before town council to actually influence the existing alcohol control ordinances. So with that ordinance in place, alcohol is only permitted here at Town Hall, Maple Lawn, and the golf course. So this would update it to all parkland with that asterisk of it being a special event or within a DORA district. Just for general information, a DORA district, it's a designated outdoor refreshment area. That is a zone dictated by a community where open container essentially would be allowed between different providers and vendors within that service district. So ultimately you can control the parameters of that. That wouldn't be a parks initiative, that would be a town initiative, but there is a chance that that footprint of a DORA district could pertain to a park, you know, especially near our urban core like Lincoln Park. So this would just allow for that exception when that would ultimately be passed by town council as well.
And is it my understanding with DORA, I've been reading about DORA for something else actually, and is it my understanding that, correct, that if you have a brewery adjacent to a park that's in a DORA district, that someone could buy a beer at the brewery, then take it out into that park area if it's within DORA?
If it's within DORA. So there's several controls. Ultimately, creating that footprint, as we mentioned, would be the discretion of that ordinance that established the DORA. You can also have specialized cups, so you couldn't just bring any beverage. It would have to be from a certified vendor. The vendors do have to register with the ATC to be in the DORA, so there are several layers and steps before that would actually permit the alcohol. So it's not just, I actually misspoke, it's not just open container per se. There can be more parameters.
Yeah.
And we don't have a DORA district currently.
Currently, we do not.
Got it.
There's like 10 in the state right now. It's just, they just started this.
Yeah, it just began in 2023, so,
This was the Super Bowl, I think, is what kicked it off.
yeah.
I think,
I love it. I think it's a great idea.
yeah, I mean, I think it's in keeping with general best practices. So.
Especially, like you said, Lincoln Park would be great to do an event or do something.
Yeah, and we've actually missed out on some festivals because that's one of the criteria we couldn't fulfill with our existing park system. So it'll be nice to at least have those conversations when outside acts want to come to town and maybe bringing new festivals and new celebrations to Zionsville.
And ultimately, it gives us, if it's a park property, control over whether we approve that permit or
not.
what conditions are applied to that permit.
Yep. So that all our signage will still say no outside alcohol beverages.
Right,
Everything will still come through us to approve for the,
right.
for that event, so.
Is that the only substantive change?
That was the only item changed for this rendition. So with your consideration for approval and adoption of this resolution, we will work with the town legal counsel to develop an ordinance for town council to consider.
Any further questions?
I'll make a motion to approve the.
Well, I need a motion for a resolution 2024-01.
04.
For 04, sorry. Resolution revisiting the rules of the park operation. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say nay. Motion carries. All right, memorial bench application.
Thank you, John. Another memorial bench for your consideration. This one would be within Creekside Corporate Park, right at the fitness equipment. So there's a family that lives off 106 that wants to be a part of our park system and honor a family member that's lived in Zionsville for 40 years, and that's the route they take most often. And we could have another seat there as well for someone to enjoy. So with your approval, we'll begin working on that memorial bench.
Make a motion to approve?
Do I have a second?
A second.
All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. Motion carries. All right, Big Four fence project.
Yeah, actually, I need to grab my laptop real quick.
Okay.
So as we widen the Big Four Rail Trail, originally there was plans for constructing the fence that used to be right here near Town Hall. That is actually a deed requirement of the easement we have for the trail in this specific area. So the proposal within the packet is to establish 860 feet of 3-foot, 6-inch tall, 5-rail, 2x6 fencing that will join essentially the same footprint of where it was before the project. So we did pull it from the previous project, hoping to bid it out again this year, and it's actually, we're saving money compared to what we received as a credit from the original contract, so that never happens.
Especially these days.
So this was competitively quoted. We did receive 3 quotes, and the lowest quote was Cameron Fence for $19,990 for this project to install 860 feet of fence along our Big Four Rail Trail. Happy to answer any questions.
Are you requesting approval of the base quote?
Yes.
Or are you looking to add the stainless upgrade?
The base quote,
And that's galvanized?
yep.
Yeah.
So it'll have some life, shelf life, but it'll still be sufficient.
And it was budgeted?
Yes, yep.
Wow. It's a lot of fence, rail,
But it's,
whatever.
like you said, it's part of the deed. It's required us to put
Yeah.
this fence in.
Yeah.
right?
Yep. We budgeted for a contractor to do it, but we also explored doing it in-house, and it's just a little bit too heavy of a lift for our team. So we'll leave it to the professionals on this one.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
All right, do a roll call vote. Ron Cambridge,
Aye?
Michael Kaufman,
Aye.
Chris Barksdale,
Aye.
Matt Milburn.
Aye.
I, John Slevich, say aye as well. Motion carries. All right, on to old business, Big Four widening change order.
Thank you, John. Spring showers sometimes bring more than just spring flowers. So unfortunately, with the heavy rain we had in April, we did experience significant erosion on the Big Four. I think the photo should be up on the screen for you all.
Not yet, there is. Ooh, yeah.
All right. So
That was coming.
a little bit too large of a job for our team as well as DPW. They just don't have the resources to get to this. This open wound, and there's actually 2 of them, so we have cordoned it off and made it safe for the time being. But the same instance happened at under the Bloor Bridge, so that's just looser soil, not as well compacted as the native soil, was just uplifted by that exponential rain we received. So we have worked with the contractor of the Big Four widening project to get a quote for repairing and stabilizing these 2 areas utilizing riprap. So for those 2 project sites, the total for the change order would be $70,240.38. We do have contingency available for this. Wish we didn't have to use it, but this is something that has to be done.
Mm-hmm. That one's going to undermine the trail if we wait any longer. So.
Absolutely. Yep.
Is I had the thing up, I'm trying to pull it, are they just putting down riprap, or are they going to,
They're going to regrade and stabilize as well.
okay, are they gonna put down like erosion netting?
I would have to dig into that EWA, and I wish Tricia was here. But REA designed the solution for it.
Okay, that would help, I mean,
Yeah.
for pretty low cost, so, either way, if Tricia's got her eyes on it, I'm sure she's thought about whether that's needed or not. So you're looking for approval of the change order?
Yes, yep.
Do we need to identify a fund that it's coming from?
This will come out of our non-reverting capital. So we have 216,000 available,
And what's the contingency we have on the project?
200,000 approximately.
200,000,
And this is the first we're spending out of the contingency?
For the 2024 budget, yes. Yep, so we've gone up, we've gone down, and this is what the remainder is.
Okay. I mean, it's just gonna get worse, so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we don't have a, kind of hands are tied, so
It's,
it's,
it's just one of those things.
Well, I guess it's an existing contract, so, yeah,
Yeah.
I make a motion to approve change order as presented.
we have a second?
I'll second.
Think we can roll call this, or is this, I think that's,
Thumbs up.
all right. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Change order approved. All right, any other board items? Anyone else had anything they need?
I do have one item.
Okay.
That just happened today, so, well, actually yesterday, sorry. So working with the town's new grant writer, we did apply to the Central Indiana Bicycling Association for a grant to improve our bicycle infrastructure along our Big Four Rail Trail. So, sorry, I do have a photo I can put up. We were awarded that, that grant proposal in the amount of over $5,534. So looking at this image here, hopefully you can see the stars. So we are proposing placing repair stations or bicycle parking along the majority of our parks along the Big Four Rail Trail. So these will either have a repair station, as I mentioned, kind of at each end as well as the middle, or we will pour a new pad and also have bicycle parking. An example of that is Starkey Park. We don't allow bikes there anyways, but if you're riding on your bike and want to walk through the woods, you can safely lock up your bike and then go enjoy the park. So we'll install that same infrastructure at Overly Warman Park, so you can park your bike there if you chose to walk into that park, as well as Carter Station. And then we will have repair stations, as I mentioned, at Heritage Trail Park in the middle of our rail trail, either at Nancy Burton or in partnership with the Zionsville Christian Church, and then at our Zionsville trailhead on Zionsville Road. So since this is expanding wellness in our community, I feel it's appropriate to utilize funds from the donation we received from an anonymous donor to expand wellness initiatives. So we dedicated $50,000 towards wellness initiatives in our park system. So my request before you this evening would be to authorize the purchase of 6 bicycle racks and 4 repair stations. I did receive multiple quotes on this as well, and the cheapest option was $9,752.21. Again, this would come from our 217 donations fund, and that fund amount allocated to wellness initiatives was $50,000, and we've only used around $2,300.
And then there's the 5,000 grant as well, so this is, or is that?
And
or
a
is that-
5,000
or-
grant, yeah.
Or is that, we're spending 9 plus the 5? Or is
Yes,
it-
yep,
okay.
so there's concrete involved as
Okay,
well.
so the 5 is, so it's,
This would be for these items
Yeah,
specifically, which
okay.
is what we would need to purchase.
Do you know the vendor for the repair stations?
It is Kirby built.
you know if it's the same one like it's at Overly Warman?
Very similar, yep, just a
Okay.
different color scheme. We're gonna go with black along the rail trail to match our benches.
Mhm.
And the bicycle racks are the ones that, kind of the loop that can hold up to 5 bikes. So each station along a park will be able to hold multiple bikes.
Good.
Will there be any like tools that are attached to the bike racks?
Yes, tools and a bike pump, so
I think
anybody with a
there's
flat.
one right over here too that's similar, right?
Yep.
Is here too, yeah.
Actually, here at Town Hall is a good example of one. And the goal is to get one at each trailhead where a car might come in or someone's entering our community, so each end as well.
And they're the same model, just a different finish?
Yes.
Okay, so we have shared kit of parts?
Yep, yep.
I think it's a great thing.
Yeah, no, it's a good value add for trails.
I just used the one in Whitestown the other day, so, yeah.
There we go.
It's nice to
And
have.
they're nice to have
Yeah.
for sure. So,
Yeah, it sounds like a good use of those funds.
yeah,
Yep, thank you.
thank you, donor. So, do you need a motion?
Yep, it's beyond my expenditure authority, so.
We have a motion to allow Jared to purchase
6
bike
racks.
repairs,
6 bike racks and 4 repair stations.
what do you
So
say?
moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed, say nay. we're moving forward. All right, claims, everyone have a good chance to review them? Any questions or concerns? We have a motion to approve claims as presented.
So moved.
We have a second? I second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Claims are approved. All right, adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Full motion.
We have a second.
I'll second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Meeting adjourned. Next meeting will be July, what is it?
Is it weird because of the fourth? No, it's after that.
Yeah. July 10th.
See you then.
See you then. All right.
See you then.